Um, One thing that always impressed me in historical studies about the city of Pennsylvania is that it is one city that they mapped out all the streets when it was still a wilderness. And and so they knew where Main Street was going to be. They knew where all the side streets were going to be. They basically built the city in their minds before they actually before people begin to build houses and buildings. And because of that, it was a very organized city. Now I'm thinking of Network Las Vegas in the same way. Here we have 8 people in the room right now. And the city that I would like to map out for us, I'd like us just to imagine for a moment a Network Las Vegas group that is super powerful in terms of generating business. What might that look like? And the key is going to be joint venture teams. And so we're going to look at what are joint venture teams and what is the value of joint venture teams, and can we actually map out what that might look like as we grow, so that as we grow, it's not haphazard. It's going to be like it's going to be like the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that it is totally mapped out. Okay, so what do joint venture teams do? Well, first of all, it's like referrals on steroids, because when you get a business referral, you're basically, asking, who do you know who could use my business? You're getting an end client. Joint venture teams, on the other hand, focus on referral sources and growing our referral sources in a very strategic way. So that's why I call it Referral Plus. And by the way, you see the logo here, why we call this next generation networking. The joint venture teams are actually the next generation part. Okay, joint venture teams are collaboration. It's kind of like a mini corporation. Well, anyone who's worked in a corporation knows the value of having a team of people working with you, as opposed to, here we are on solopreneurs, a lot of us working from our home on our own, and it's so wonderful. We have some freedoms, we have some abilities that you don't have. No one's telling us, like as in a corporation, what you can and can't do, but you don't have that team. So joint venture teams help us to have that experience of being on a team, which is truly valuable. Okay, and what do you do on that team? There's joint marketing. So we can do our marketing together rather than everyone off on their own doing separate marketing campaigns. We can actually join together with other strategic people to do a joint marketing campaign. Joint venture teams are a mastermind, just like we're experiencing today, is that you actually have that mastermind ability where everything you do gets, you get more feedback, so you do what you're doing more effectively. There's joint marketing, there's joint training events that we can hold. We could bundle products together. So these are some of the values of joint venture teams. I mean, things that joint venture teams can do. So what are the benefits of joint venture teams? Well, there's greater opportunity. You're going to accelerate new client acquisition. You're going to have greater visibility in the marketing place. A team has more visibility than an individual could ever have. And you're going to accelerate your business growth as a result. So let's look at each of these. Accelerate new client acquisition. Well, you're going for a referral source versus just the next referral. So you got a steady stream of new clients. you're going for the best ROI is going to come from return on investment is going to come from focusing on your sphere. Meaning, if you're a realtor, get a mortgage broker in here, um, get a home inspector, get some contractors in here. That's your sphere, and that's going to be where your best return on investment is in terms of working with others. And you're going to be organizing to produce. So you're going to accelerate new client acquisition. Greater visibility. You're going to have more presenting time, because as we break into our joint venture teams, you're going to have more time to present ideas, talk about your business. People are going to get more of an idea of your business through that feedback than they would in the larger group. And once again, we're talking about not the 8 people we've got in the room here now, but we're talking about a potential 50 people, and you can disappear into the crowd with those kinds of numbers, or you can, in a joint venture team, you can really maximize your presenting time. You're going to present more often, so you present your speaker rotation presentation more often in your joint venture team than you ever could in a large networking group. And you're going to get instant feedback. So there's a little more time when you give your presentation to get some feedback. You're going to accelerate your business growth. You're going to grow your team. As you grow your team, it's going to grow your business opportunities. So one of the things you ask as a joint venture team, who should be in this group that's not on my team currently? I use the realtor as an example. Who's not in Network Las Vegas that could really be a part of your team, Z? And then everyone should be thinking that. You're going to grow team referrals. Referrals are going to come more rapidly through a team. And you're going to grow joint ventures, meaning, joint marketing campaigns, joint training events, bundling products. You're going to grow a lot more of those opportunities. So greater opportunity when we join together and we break into joint venture teams. And one thing that I found in BNI and in the church and in every community group, in every organization I've ever been involved in, is if everyone relates together as a whole, you're going to reach a ceiling at about 20 members and then bounce back down to the 8 we've got in the room. On the other hand, if you break into multiple cells, then it just blasts through the ceiling of growth. And so with 4 teams of 8, you still have that closeness, you have that collaboration, but you also have the larger group. And so it's easier to grow 4 teams of 8 than 1 team of 32. Okay, projected joint venture teams. What would those teams look like? Well, business services, and we've talked about that, and consumer services. And that's a great start. We've made that start. What are some teams, though? If we're Pittsburgh, we're mapping out the city of Pittsburgh while it's still wilderness. What would that map look like? Okay, it would look like a real estate and home improvement team, financial services team, a health and wellness team, and some other joint venture team. By the time we get to these, we'll creatively be thinking of others. But the important thing is we have the map before we even start to build. Without the map, we're going to keep bouncing back down to our loyal 8 people. And, I love you all. And we've accomplished a lot together. We're going to accomplish even more. But, do we really want to give each other the very best? Let's grow by mapping out these teams. Okay, joint venture team is really the best of networking. It's taking the best we know of networking. If you've been in a BNI, if you've been in leads group, team referral, those are great networking groups. But joint venturing takes the best of that networking and it puts it on steroids. So, it takes the structure of networking. The joint venture team goes through the regular structure of a meeting. You build the relationships. You've got the energy in that team. Business, the focus is business growth. The exposure, know, like, and trust the people on the team, and it's purpose and goal driven. So that's really the best of what makes networking work is these principles. But now you take it and you operate that same framework in terms of a number of cells that are called joint venture teams, and you put the whole thing on steroids. So you take the best of networking, but then you take it to a new level by putting it into a team structure. So what would an agenda be? What I like to propose is that we have one meeting a month where we're all together. And another one of our meetings, we operate as the joint venture team. How might that look? Well, one thing we begin as this is joint venture day, let's call it. We begin as Network Las Vegas, everyone's together. Okay, then we go to our teams. What would you do in the joint venture team? The first agenda item would be growth goals. Who's not in the team that we'd like to have in our team? So the next would be go ahead and do your commercials. Like I said, this is the best in networking. Only you're operating as a team, and do a presentation. Maybe you've got time for 2 presentations or more, or just more time to spend on the one presentation and more time to spend on feedback. But it's a more close-knit group when we break into those teams. And then finally, referrals, testimonials, and then come back as the whole group and report back. What did you do in your team? And so that's a model for running an organization as a whole. One time a month, we operate as a whole. The other time, maybe the third Wednesday, we break into the joint venture teams. So just an idea, because, as you know, it seems like we never get to the joint venture teams. We never get to the breakout rooms. This would be a way to make sure that we do. Okay, so, leadership plus goals. What we'll do is track visitors, referrals, one-to-ones, joint venture projects in your team. We have a joint venture coordinator, a joint venture. Each team would have a team leader, and each leader would have an assistant. So this is just a way we could organize these. So a rollout plan could be August 4th. We'll present this to our leadership team. We present this to Network Las Vegas, which we're doing right now. August 11th, we look at this as a leadership team and finalize a joint venture team rollout plan and recruit leaders. September 15th, the third Wednesday of the month, is our first joint venture team sessions. So the third Wednesday is always going to be joint venture teams. The first Wednesday will be our group as a whole. And We have team leaders reporting to the joint venture coordinator. The joint venture coordinator reports to the leadership team. So this is kind of like I said, mapping out Pittsburgh while it's still the wilderness. We 8 people are still the wilderness, but we can map out something bigger and then grow into it. That's how it might look.